Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wal aqibatu lil muttaqin wala udwana illa 'alal zalimin wa usalli wa usallimu 'alan nabiyil karim al-mab'utsu rahmatan lil alamin nabiyina Muhammad wa 'ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la 'ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wala haula wala quwwata illa billahil aliyyil 'azim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'd. All praise is due to Allah who has made the prophets and messengers the soul of this life. We bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and we testify that Prophet Muhammad is his messenger. And inshallah, as usual, tonight we will be learning the stories of the prophets, and we are still in the midst of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam, whereby last week we took some topics from the book. So before we continue on the topic of Prophet Ibrahim destroy idols, so basically I will just give a summary of what we have took last week. So last week we know that Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam was the greatest of prophets after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and Prophet Ibrahim was also known the father of all prophets. Why? Because Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam, from his progeny came the Arabs and came the Israelis. Okay, how the Arabs came from the progeny of Prophet Ibrahim? By Ismail. Okay, by Prophet Ismail alaihi salam, who is one of the son of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam. And how do the Israelis came about? It came from the son of Prophet Ishaq, which is Yaqub. Okay, which is Yaqub. I mean, the son of Prophet Ibrahim, Ishaq. Ishaq had a son named Yaqub, and Yaqub is called Israel. Okay, Yaqub, Prophet Yaqub, another name is called Israel. So maybe, if you have heard, it's actually wrong to curse Israel. Why? Because if you are cursing Israel, you are indirectly cursing Prophet Yaqub alaihi salam, because the another name of Prophet Yaqub is actually Israel. So from Yaqub came the Bani Israel. Bani means the children of Israel. Okay, so Prophet Ibrahim, we can say he's the fathers of two lineage, or two, how to say, race, which is the Arabs and also the Israelis. Then last week there was a brother who asked me, okay, what is the race or ethnicity of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? Okay, basically there was no concrete answer on that, but we can say his race is the same as the race of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, whereby both of them came from Iraq, or last time it used to be called Babylon or Mesopotamia. Okay, so Babylon is old Iraq, whereby Prophet Nuh used to stay there and Prophet Ibrahim used to stay there. So they have their own language, they have their own race. So we don't exactly know what race is him, what race is Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was. But we do not say that he is an Arab. We also cannot say that he is a Jew, and we cannot say also he is a Christian, because the Quran say, "Ma kana Ibrahima Yahudiyyan wala Nasraniyyan walakin kana Hanifan Muslima." Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam is not a Yahudi, is not a Jew, and not a Nasrani, not a Christian. Although the verse here is talking about the Tawhid, or the belief, okay, the belief of the Jew or the belief of the Nasrani, it also, some people say, okay, maybe Prophet Ibrahim have a Jew race, although not a Jew religion, but we can't say that, because yes, I have read that inside the Bible, they said that, or they claim that Prophet Ibrahim or Abraham, in their word, said that he was from the Hebrew race, means Hebrew, he spoke Hebrew, but we cannot determine that. Allahu Ta'ala alam bisawab. Okay, basically it was an old ethnicity. Okay, it was an old ethnicity, and that ethnicity is no more anymore. Okay, that is about the ethnicity. Next thing, we also took that Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam was an intelligent person. Okay, he had very good intellectual in dialogue, in debates. Okay, if you can see that when he debates, he used rhetorical reasoning. Okay, some people may think that kurang hajar. Okay, because we have read the way of his debating is a bit different. He used logic, use rhetorical, then he may, sometimes the questions that he asks may seem stupid at first, but that is his way of debating, okay? And Prophet Ibrahim was so smart since young, okay? We have took that he hate idols because he had a terrible father. Why? Because the first thing is, his father was an idol worshipper. Second thing, not only an idol worshipper, an idol maker, means he owned a factory to make idols. Third thing, not only that, he sold idols to the people there. So, three trouble. So, of course, as a son, he hate his father's religion, idol worshipping. So, there are many dialogues between Prophet Ibrahim and his father where we'll be taking some of it today before we took the new topic regarding Ibrahim destroy the idols. So basically, when he was young, before puberty, as we have spoken last week, okay, there was one big idol, okay, with big ears, shaped like an animal, okay. So young Ibrahim, okay, used to sit on this idol like a donkey, okay. This idol is called Murdosh or Mudok, okay. So the father, okay, in the Quran, the father was called Azar, okay, but in history books, it's called Tariq. So basically, after researching, Tariq is the real name. Azar is the nickname. And Azar means supporter. Supporter of idols. Okay? Because Azar, orang besar dekat Babylon. Why? Idol maker. Ajak orang, invite people to worship idols. And everything. So, a troublemaker as in idol making in Babylon or in Iraq at that time. So, the father scolded him. Okay? So, Ibrahim refuted back. Okay, why this idol got big ears? Huh? Okay, so the father said, oh, the ears are big, Murdosh ears is big because it shows that this idol got lots of knowledge. That's why the ears are big. Okay, so Ibrahim just laughed at his father's dumbness. So, when he grew older, okay, during his teens, okay, he started to debate with his people, as we have took, okay, started to debate with his people. Then, he also debated with his father. Okay, he also debated with his father. Okay. Other thing that is important, there are three things that is quite important. Okay. So, just now I said that Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam is not the father to Arabs only. Rather, he is also the father to Bani Israel. And Israel is Yaqub. Okay, Prophet Yaqub, who his father is Ishaq. And Ishaq is the son of Prophet Ibrahim AS. So Yaqub is the other name of Israel. Okay? And Sheikh Ibn al-Uthaymin said in Liqa' Bab al-Maftuh, okay, Sheikh Uthaymin said Ibrahim is the father of Arabs and also the father of Israelis. So yes, it is correct to say that Prophet Ibrahim AS is the father of most prophets. Okay? Then Mujahid says, okay, Mujahid, a scholar said, a Salaf said, okay, in the interpretation or in the tafsir in Surah Hud, verse 78, okay, the translation, O my people, this is from Surah Hud, O my people, these are my daughters, they are purer for you. So Mujahid said, okay, they were not actually his daughters, rather they were part of his nation, the Ummah, and every prophet is the nation to his nation. Okay, that is number one. Okay, then number two is Prophet Ibrahim is the father of prophets who came after him. Okay? So Ibn Kathir, may peace and mercy be upon him, said, Allah did not send any prophet after him, that is Prophet Ibrahim, except he was from his progeny. Means, all prophets after Ibrahim alayhi salam, all the roots come back to where? Come back to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Okay? That is number two. Okay? And the third one, every prophet was like a father to his nation and his followers. Okay, this is number three. Okay. So, I think I also told last week, okay, his father was quite old when the mother, Okay, when Ibrahim mother gave birth to Ibrahim, it was said that he was 75 years old when Tariq had Ibrahim. Okay, and we know there was a prophet called Prophet Lut. And how is Lut related to Prophet Ibrahim? Prophet Lut is the nephew of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam. So Lut is the nephew of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam. Then we talked about the debates also last week. So I think we end with the debate with the father, okay, which we will take now. Okay. Okay, so in the Quran, in Surah Maryam, from verse 42 to verse 45, Allah stated, mentioned when he said to his father, "O my father, why do you worship that which does not hear and does not see, and will not benefit you at all?" So, Ibrahim is referring to the idols. Why, my father, you make these idols, okay, with your own hands, okay? Why you worship these idols when they cannot hear you, okay? You talk to them, okay, or you supplicate to them, they don't hear you. And they don't see you. When you were in front of them, bowing to them, the idols also don't see you, although you said that they had eyes. And they will not give any benefit or harm to you. O my father, indeed there has come to me of knowledge that which has not come to you. So follow me. I will guide you to an even path. O my father, do not worship shaitan. La ta'budu shaitan. Okay? Why idols is related to shaitan? Because we have learned in Prophet Noah's story, whose idea in worshipping idols? The shaitan, Iblis. Okay? And we knew that, we have learned in Prophet Noah's story, okay? They don't start with worshipping first. Okay? There were these 5 pious people, orang soleh, okay, like the Ustaz in their land, after the death of Prophet Noah. Okay? The names are in Surah Noah. So, Iblis said to the people, okay, these 5 pious men already passed away. So you miss them, right? So why don't you draw images of them as in a living memory of their goodness to you? So they start to draw image, hang on their walls, and look at their pictures to remind about their goodness in preaching Allah's religion. Then years by years, okay, people don't know who these 5 person on the wall were. So Iblis started to whisper to them again. Okay, now, who are these people? Some of you know them. Some of you don't know them. Okay, pictures are boring. Okay, this is in my language, okay? Pictures are boring. Why don't you do sculptures, okay? Why don't you carve stones, make into idols of these 5 pious people? So there is 5 people, okay, why don't you make statues of them? But still, as a living memory. Just so that when the statue is in front of you, you can remember their goodness in preaching to Allah. Okay? After that, Iblis start to cocok. Okay? Why don't you worship them? Okay? Always in living memory only, boring. Why don't you start worshipping them? So this is the history of the starting of worshipping idols. So it's the same thing. So Ibrahim reasoned with his father, why do you worship shaitan? It means that worshipping idols is same like worshipping shaitan, because it's shaitan's idea to make man worship idols. Okay? Can? Okay, let's continue. So that is one part of his reasoning. Indeed, shaitan has ever been to the most merciful, that means to Allah, disobedient. O my father, indeed I fear that there will touch you a punishment from the most merciful, so you would be a shaitan in companion. So it means that I fear that when you listen to shaitan, you make shaitan as your friend, you will go to hellfire. I scared of you get a punishment from Allah in the hereafter. So when the father hear that, does the father like or does the father dislike? Of course, the father became very angry because it was his idea. Okay, because it was his idea of creating idols to worship. Now his son treated his father. So how does his father? His father was so angry. Okay, but despite that, we know that Prophet Ibrahim loved his father for whatever the father said to him. Okay, that shows that although the father is an idol worshipper, Prophet Ibrahim still loved him, as in a fatherly way, means as a father and son, but not loving what he worshipped, not loving the religion of his father. Okay, that is important. That is quite important. So, in the same surah, in verse 46, okay, the father immediately responds to Prophet Ibrahim reasoning, "O Ibrahim, have you turned away from my gods? If you do not give this up," okay, what Ibrahim said, he gave a death threat. "I will stone you, I will rejam you to death. Okay, now get out from me forever." What we can see, okay, means this is the ultimatum. Okay, you are not my son anymore. Okay, you keep arguing with me. Okay, now get out of this house. I don't want to see your face anymore. Okay, so we can see that his father don't give any chance. Okay, this is the ultimatum. Get out of my house. So we can say Ibrahim is raised in a dysfunctional family lah, so-called. Okay, a father who hate him. Okay, although yes, his father loved him at his young age, but after all the debates, the father disliked him until the father wants to kill his own son by stoning him, or if you don't want to get stoned, you better run out from this house. Get out of this house and I don't want to see your face anymore. Okay? So Ibrahim listen or don't listen? In Surah Maryam verse 47, okay, Allah said, Ibrahim said to his father, "Salamun alaik, peace be upon you. I shall seek pardon for you from my Lord. My Lord has always been kind to me." But this, he made a mistake. You cannot seek pardon, you cannot seek forgiveness for the disbeliever part, means worshipping idols. This is wrong. You cannot seek pardon in that. So he made a mistake. Okay? So Prophet Ibrahim understood a profound truth. Okay? With a heavy heart, he left the house because dagan halau. Okay, because his father asked him to get out, he need to get out, or else he will be killed. So with a heavy heart, tears in his eyes, he get out of his house. Okay, so he chose the path to Allah. Okay, he don't give up. He started preaching to the ummah, or means not ummah, to the people. Okay, to the citizens of Babylon. Okay, so there is a dialogue in Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Okay. Verse 72 and 73, Allah stated, okay, whereby Prophet Ibrahim said to the people, "Can these idols hear you when you call upon them? Or can they benefit or harm you?" Okay, Ibrahim asked his town people. And as expected, because of arrogance, okay, and arrogance is a sickness, is a cancer, they defend their belief and defend their gods. They don't want to listen to Ibrahim. They defend their belief in idol worshipping, and also they defend their God. So they reason that they know these idols are lifeless, got no soul, but why we worship them? Favorite answer. Oh, our datuk moyang worship them. Our forefathers worship, so we did a common answer, but a dumb answer, foolish answer. So they justify this answer as a proof to worship idols. But whatever your forefathers do doesn't mean it's right? Okay? Because their forefathers got a God, and their God is Allah. So not everything that your nenek moyang did is right. So it's a dumb reasoning. Okay? So Prophet Ibrahim warned them, okay, in Surah Ash-Shu'ara, from verse 75 to verse 82, okay, Allah stated, and Ibrahim said to their people, to his people, "Have you considered," okay, I just read the translation, "Have you considered what you have been worshipping, and you and your ancestors? They are all enemies to me." Means, these idols is my enemy. I don't like them. They are my enemy. Okay? And also enemy to Allah. Okay? Allah is the one who created me. Khalaqani fahuwa yahdin. Okay? Allah created me, and He also yahdin, guides me. Wa idza maridtu fahuwa yashfin. And when I'm sick, he is the one who make me shifa. Okay, sembuhkan. Okay, cure me. And also who provides me food and drink. Okay? And also he is the one who caused me to die and then bring me to life. And he is the one who I hope will forgive my flaws in the judgment day. Okay? So the people became angry because they were arrogant. They don't want to listen. Okay? And they were more angry when being told that their nenek moyang were wrong. Okay? Lagi mengamuk mereka doang. Okay? So they said, "Oh Ibrahim, are you condemning our forefathers? Are you saying that for all these years our forefathers are wrong in worshipping these idols?" So they asked further Prophet Ibrahim in Surah Anbiya verse 55. They said to Prophet Ibrahim, "Have you come to us with truth, or are you those who jest?" Okay, means just to argue, right? Is it? Oh, joke. Okay, joke. Okay, because I just take the translation from the tafsir, but I'm not sure. Okay, so just means joke. Okay, so have you come to us with truth, or are you joking with me, with us? Okay, so Prophet Ibrahim responded, he's not scared. And then you imagine, this is when he just reached puberty, 15, 16 years old, but can debate like this. This shows he is very intelligent. From a young age, he can debate like this, and he fear nobody. Okay, at a very young age, young boy, who have very debate or good skills in debating. So, in Surah Anbiya, verse 56 and verse 57, okay, Prophet Ibrahim responded, whereby Allah narrated, "No, rather your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them. And I, to that, am those who testify, and I swear by Allah, I will surely plan against your idols after you have turned and gone away." So, Ibrahim swear to Allah that I will do a plot. What is the plot? I will destroy your idols when you are not there. So, kurang hajar lagi. So means, these people hear that this young boy, 15 years old or 16 years old, want to destroy all their idols. So, this is already so rude. Okay, but they listen, they're unsure. You are just a young boy. You really want to do that? So, let's see. Let's see. So, one day, as we know, they had a festival, and the festival is outside the city. Okay, I think here we haven't took, right? It's on page 79. I think we read from the book first. Okay, open to page 79, pertaining to Ibrahim destroy the idols. So this is what we are going to take today. So in his challenge to his people, Ibrahim warned them that he would one day destroy their idols to prove to everyone that the idols were indeed too helpless to help anyone. So one day, when they all had gone away on a festival, and the festival is outside the city, okay, he crushed or he broke all the idols except the biggest, okay, except the biggest one, okay. So there is small idols, bigger one, and the biggest one means the only biggest one, he don't destroy it, okay, which he spared to make a statement. Ibrahim want to show them just how ignorant and misguided they were. So only one idols he doesn't destroy. Okay? So he did it alone. No one see why? Because only he is in the city. Everyone left Babylon for a festival. Okay? Next paragraph. When they returned, they were shocked to see their idols in ruins. They thought that no one would have ever have the brazenness to do this act to their gods, whose right was to be worshipped and honored, not to be desecrated and crushed. So if you imagine, if you worship something, your gods, so you imagine, these idols have been your gods, your forefathers' gods, and your forefathers' gods being destroyed. How they feel? They feel like angry, but it's sometimes dumb. So when they saw it, what happened? Our idols are broken. Who did this? Our gods are broken. How? How can our gods be destroyed? And it doesn't make sense. How can gods be destroyed? But they themselves said, who destroyed our gods? But can gods be destroyed? Means you have been worshipping it, then it was destroyed by someone, by a human being. Then you pray to the idols for whatever you want, but the idols themselves cannot protect themselves to be destroyed. Does it make sense? Right? So, they themselves say that, but due to ignorance, they don't want to admit that they are wrong in worshipping the idols. So, as we know, he destroyed all the idols except the big one. He used an axe to destroy it, and on the neck of the biggest idols, he hanged the axe on it. So, they see that all idols destroyed except the biggest one. Axe on the idols. So, they were wondering, okay, who destroyed? But there is a hint. The axe is on the biggest idols. But they discuss with themselves, okay, some of them say, okay, it must be Ibrahim. Ibrahim, from dulu dia kecil, dia memang tak suka patung. He doesn't like idols. Okay? In fact, he have ever threatened to destroy our idols. So it must be him. And also, we knew that he doesn't go to the festival. Okay? So it must be him. Okay? So they called Ibrahim. So let's continue. Okay? Ibrahim was then, before we haven't finished that paragraph, they thought that no one would ever have the brazenness to do this act to their gods, whose right was to be worshipped and honored, not to be desecrated and crushed. Then they remembered the young man, which is Ibrahim, who had contested the right of their gods to worship, and they concluded that he must be responsible for their sacrilege. Right? Okay. Ibrahim was then brought before a large assembly of people, so they arrested Ibrahim, okay, brought to a large assembly of people, then they interrogated him. Okay? And this is also stated in the Quran. Okay? Did you do this to our gods, O Ibrahim? Okay? So Ibrahim answered them mockingly. So we see, sometimes Ibrahim answering, sometimes like kurang ajar, but he have a plan. Means Ibrahim have a strategy in refuting. He have a strategy in debating. Okay? So Ibrahim answered them mockingly. This big one among them must have done it. Ask them. I'm sure these statues don't know who destroyed them, whether I did or their big one did. So, Ibrahim just answered them mockingly, just laugh at them. Can you see this big statue? The neck got X. It must be the statue lah. Why me? Isn't the X on that statue? Why you blame me? You go and ask that statue if the statue really destroyed these small idols. So go ask them. Don't blame me. Okay? I'm sure this statue don't know who destroyed them, but I did it, or their big one did. So they answered him. Actually, in the Quran they said, ثُمَّ نُكِسُوا عَلَى رُؤُسِهِمْ. Okay? They actually kept silent. Then نُكِسُوا عَلَى رُؤُسِهِمْ. Okay? Because they were speechless. Means they were speechless first. Ibrahim answered us like that. Okay? That big God, that big stone, destroyed this small stone. So they thought it might be the X is on that. Then they thought, nukisu ala ru'usihim. Then it suddenly makes sense. Oh, Ibrahim is in your book. Okay? Yeah, these idols neither speak nor hear anything. You know, right, Ibrahim? These are stones. And stones don't speak nor hear anything. Why you go and you ask me or you ask us to talk to them? You know they are stones. When we talk to them, they can't reply. Are you foolish, or Ibrahim? So it's like that reasoning, okay? So they immediately realized the mockery in Ibrahim's response. So nukisu ala ru'usihim, they realized the intelligence of Prophet Ibrahim, the mockery in Ibrahim's response to them, and how he was calling their attention to their foolishness in worshipping objects that can neither speak nor hear anything. Ibrahim was quick to follow their silly answer with another humbling question. Okay, so Ibrahim now, senang cakap, diorang dah terkena lah. Okay, diorang already been defeated. So Ibrahim quickly answer with a humbling question. Do you then worship besides Allah what can neither harm nor benefit you? How disgusting is that? Okay, Uffil lakum. Okay, uff, okay. We know that we cannot say uff to parents, right? Wala takul lahuma uff. Uff means, if you want to translate in Malay, celaka kau. So Ibrahim literally says, celaka kau. Woe to you. Okay, celaka kau. Why you worship besides Allah? Don't you have reasoning? Okay, afala ta'qilun? Don't you have brain? Celaka kau. Don't you have brain? Why you worship a stone that cannot talk? And you worship them. Okay? So they say harwiqu. Okay, whereby we will continue, but I think we take from the Quran first, or some verses from the Quran. Okay. Basically, this story was narrated in Surah Al-Anbiya from verse 58. Okay. So in verse 58 Surah Safat, and the consequences verse, or the following verses, Allah narrated. So He made them into fragments. Okay. Destroy everything except a large one among them, that they might return to it and question. Okay. Then outraged, okay, they ask in Surah or verse 59, who has done this to our gods? Man fa'ala bi alihatina. Okay, who have done this to our gods? He must indeed a tyrant, a criminal. Okay, criminal. How dare a person destroy our God? Okay, you imagine, if a person call your father a fool, you become angry. Now, if a person call your God a fool, you become more angry. Now, if a person destroy your gods, how will you feel? So they will be angry. Okay? So they become a discussion. So they said, we heard a youth, yuqalu lahu Ibrahim. He is called Ibrahim. Okay? So they said, bring him to us. Bring him to us so that they might witness his trial. Okay? So they demanded Ibrahim to be trial. Okay, trial. So Ibrahim knew that he would be summoned for trial, but he was never afraid. He already knew how to outsmart his people to show them that they were on the wrong path. Okay? Ibrahim also knew if harm were to befall him, it would be with Allah's permission, and Allah will never allow harm upon the prophets. Okay? So, in Surah Anbiya from verse 62 to verse 67, okay, continuation of the story, they said, okay, like we read from our book, are you the one who has done this to our gods, O Ibrahim? Ibrahim say, no, this one, this God, this biggest idol of you, did it ask him if they can speak? So Ibrahim say, if they can speak, but they cannot speak, right? So they actually discuss among themselves. Then when they have sound mind, they said, you know, right, these idols can't speak. Okay? So Ibrahim said to them, verily, you are the zalimun. Okay? Indeed, you are the zalimun. And why do you worship these idols that can neither bring benefit or harm you? If upon you and upon that which you worship besides Allah, have you no sense? Or afala ta'qilun, have no brains? Okay? So now, okay, in the next chapter, okay, is about the story of the fire, which becomes cold and pleasurable. We know fire is hot, but it's the will of Allah that the fire becomes cold and pleasurable. Let's read, okay, in page 80. So his answer, Prophet Ibrahim answer, had caught them unaware. It hit them like a ton of bricks and exposed their foolishness and the weakness of the helpless idols, whose help humans stupidly sought. The truth was now clear and falsehood had been exposed. Yes, if you have a sound mind, okay, you will realize that idols is a foolishness to worship them. Okay? Rather than submit to the truth. Humbly, however, they chose to defend their idols by showing their own strength and power over Ibrahim. So they made a huge fire. So they discuss among themselves. So they decide to kill Ibrahim with the worst killing. And what is the worst killing? To kill a person? Hariku. Kill him with fire. Okay? You can hang him, you can choke him, you can whatever punishment, but they chose fire because we know who actually allowed to punish with fire? Only Allah. Okay, only Allah. Allah is the one who can punish with fire. That's why Allah created hellfire. Okay? No one actually should punish a person with a fire. So, but they chose fire to punish Ibrahim. They say, Harriku. Okay? Burn Ibrahim. Okay? Burn Ibrahim. Wansuru alihatina. And protect our idols. Okay? Protect ourselves. Wansuru alihatikum. Okay? Protect our idols. Okay? Rather than submit to the truth, humbly, however, they chose to defend their idols by showing their own strength and power over Ibrahim. So they made a huge fire. Okay, and they not only make a huge fire. Okay, bunyanan. Okay, fire made from a building. Okay, a tall tower of fire. So it's not only a fire, a tower of fire. Okay, you imagine. And it was said that it's the biggest fire ever made in history. Not only that, the fire was so tall and the building of fire was so tall that birds cannot fly on top. Even birds cannot fly because of the fire that is too tall. So it was the biggest fire. Okay, bunyanan. Okay, they make a building of fire. Okay, so how they want to throw Ibrahim into the fire? Because the fire is too big. How do they want to throw? So they need an instrument. Okay, which is a catapult. Okay. Or the Persian word is called manjanik. So manjanik, if you know the old catapult, the Persians started it. It's like a vehicle. Okay, so there's a spring. So you put the boulder there, usually boulder. Then it bounces. Then the stone hit the walls to destroy the walls of palace or forts like that. So they use that instead of stones. They put Ibrahim there and they lepaskan. And Ibrahim kept flying and flying and flying towards the fire. Okay? Okay, before we continue, it's not stated in your book, but it's inside in the hadith, basically. So, here in your book, basically, Allah said to the fire, right? Okay? Basically, when Ibrahim was flying and flying in the air towards the fire, okay? Allah sent Malaikat Jibril, Angel Jibril. So, Ibrahim recognized who Jibril was. So, Jibril asked, "Oh Ibrahim, do you want help?" If a sane person, a normal person, in that situation, oh, of course, help me, I'm dying, right? But Ibrahim, okay, said, if you, Jibril, I don't need help for you. But if Allah, I will seek Allah for help. Means, he don't care, there is Jibril also. If from you, oh Jibril, I don't want help from you. But if from Allah, I will seek help from Allah. And I know Allah will help me. So, Ibrahim, tolak lah. Don't want Malaikat Jibril's help. So when he was nearing the fire, Allah immediately commanded the fire. Okay? Ya nar kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. Oh fire, kuni bardan, be cool. But Allah tambah, add wasalaman. Why Allah add salam? Because if fire was to be cold, Ibrahim will be killed not from fire, but being frozen to death. So Allah say, yes, oh fire, be cool and salaman, peaceful. So, cool but not freezing. Like living in an air-conditioned room, but inside the fire. Okay, kuni bardan, wa salaman al Ibrahim. Oh fire, be cool, but don't freeze him. Be pleasure. So, a fire of pleasure. Okay? Glory to be Allah, His command overtook the fire and its ability to burn. But, do the people know that Ibrahim died inside? No. In fact, some narration said the fire lasted for 40 days. You imagine a fire super big, it take days for it to extinguish, right? So they don't know. They waited and waited. Ibrahim died or not inside? Ibrahim died or not inside? So some narration said 40 days, some narration said lesser, but Allahu Alam, but whatever is it, it took days for the fire to be extinguished. Okay? Okay, so what did the fire do? It only burned the ropes, but don't burn Ibrahim. And Ibrahim feel peace inside the fire. Okay? Some narration said, Allahu Alam is true or not, is inside the hadith, but it might be a da'if hadith. Some said that Allah gave fruits for Ibrahim to eat. So Ibrahim inside the fire is eating grapes. Buanggo. Lepak, makan buanggo, tapi dalam api. But the fire is not burning him. Okay? So, after days, the fire became extinguished. Okay, we read from our book first. And it is said that no fire on earth at that moment except that it extinguished in obedience to the command of the Almighty Allah. And the fire into which engulfed Ibrahim burned only the ropes that had used to tie him. Even animals rose to support Ibrahim and began to put out the fire in their ways, except the wild gecko. Cicak, So cicak is enemy also. That's why, okay, if you ask me, why we need to kill cicak, lizard, because lizard, sokong the fire to burn Ibrahim. Okay? That's why it's a sunnah to kill lizards. Okay, except the wall gecko that blew air to fan the flames further. That is why Messenger Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered Muslim to kill cicak lah. So now if you ask why it's a sunnah to kill lizards, because lizards is the one who blew hot air for the flames to be bigger to kill Ibrahim. Okay, that is why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered Muslims to kill lizards. So Ibrahim came out of the fire totally unharmed because Allah's knowledge and might did not forsake him for a moment. Indeed, the command of Allah upset and disengaged all the physical laws of nature on earth, such that the fire whose nature is to burn things turned out to be a pleasurably cool substance to Ibrahim alaihi salam. Allah frustrated their plot. So, wa makaru wa makar Allah. They make a plot, but Allah also make a plot. They want to burn Ibrahim, instead the fire became cool. So, they have a plan, Allah have a plan. So, always believe in Allah's plan, because Allah's plan ultimately will be better for you. Okay? Because Allah is the most intelligent. Okay? So, Allah saved him from fire and humiliated his enemies. He alone defeated the groups. Glory to be him. It is strange that after this great and unprecedented incident, nobody believed Prophet Ibrahim. So strange, eh? Imagine for 40 days or more or less, okay, they saw the fire burning and burning so high, the flames are very high, and Ibrahim is not dead yet, okay? No one still want to believe in Prophet Ibrahim's da'wah, okay? In our book, it only stated that only 2 people believe. Who? Ibrahim's wife Sarah and, here say 1, okay? Basically, Lut believed in Ibrahim, the nephew, okay, which eventually became a prophet. Prophet Lut believed in Ibrahim after this incident. Okay? All right. Okay. So basically the next topic is the dispute between Prophet Ibrahim and Namrud. Okay? Namrud is the name of a king, a tyrant king at that time. Okay? So the news of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam miraculous escape from the fire reached King Namrud. So who was King Namrud? Okay, we read the paragraph there in the new chapter. So Namrud ibn Kan'an was an unjust and despotic king. So he was the king of Babylon. Okay? And some says that the king actually works with Tariq, Ibrahim's father. Okay? And this king also is an idol worshipper, but he said that he is God. Okay? You need to worship him also. Okay? Deceived by the vastness of his kingdom, which had extended east and west of the world, he had become beguiled by his seeming achievements so much that he claimed to be a god and denied the existence of any divine being besides himself. When word reached him of Ibrahim's message and called to the pure worship of Allah, he invited him to his palace and challenged Ibrahim to establish for him a sound proof of the existence of Allah. So basically, the story of Ibrahim debating with his own father, then debating with his people, and also when his people throw himself or not throw Prophet Ibrahim into the fire, Prophet Ibrahim did not get burnt, it reached to the king. Okay, so the king invited or challenged Ibrahim to the palace, okay, for a debate. When Ibrahim made to establish the proof by saying that it is Allah who gives life and death, Namrud countered him arrogantly, boasting that it is I rather who gives life and takes it. And to prove his claim, he called that 2 people be brought to his presence among those who had been sentenced to death by the law of the land. Okay, before we continue, so basically this story was narrated in the Quran. So we take the verse in the Quran, so it's better, much better. So basically, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah recounted this story. Okay, have you not thought about who disputed with Ibrahim about his Lord? Alam tara alladhi haja Ibrahima fi qawmih. Okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah, have you not thought about him who disputed with Ibrahim about his Lord, because Allah had given him the kingdom? When Ibrahim said to him, my Lord Allah is He who gives life and causes death. Then this dumb and arrogant king said, Ana uhi wa umit, I give life and cause death. So what he did, as we have read, he take two young people, two young men, killed one and spare one. Clever, right? But not clever, fool. Why? This is not giving life and death. Ibrahim mean a different meaning. Yes, you kill someone, you spare someone. But this is not what Ibrahim wanted. So Ibrahim feel defeated not when the king say like this. He have another idea. Okay, you are clever, but I'm more clever. So what Ibrahim did? Okay, now the sun rises from the east. Okay, you every day see the sun, right? It rises from the east. Okay, you think you are clever, right? You see the sun rises from the east. Try to make it rises from the west. Can you do it? Speechless already. Now he knew that he is actually a fool. Ibrahim is cleverer. Okay? So let's read from our book. Okay? So basically that is the story. Okay? Okay, it is I rather who gives life and takes it, and to prove his claim, he called that two people to be brought to his presence among those who had been sentenced to death by the law of the land. He ordered that one of them to be killed and that the others to be set free. He ordered that he wanted to establish his false claim fraudulently. Being the wise one ever, Ibrahim said to him, if you claim to give and take life, Allah brings, this one lah, okay? In Allah hayati, okay? Allah brings out the sun from the east, so can you make the sun come out from the west? Can you do that? Oh Namrud, since you say you are God, right? Okay, try to do it. So immediately Namrud became speechless. Okay, so that challenge immediately shut him up. He became quiet immediately, and he was unable to give an answer. He knew that Ibrahim is cleverer. Okay, Ibrahim had a point, and the proof had been established against Namrud. For Allah will never guide or support whoever wrongs his own soul by disbelieving and associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So, here is a story about King Namrud again. Although this is different in his opinion. Your book said it was King Namrud, but some books said it was not King Namrud. It's another king. Okay. So because the next topic is about the migration of Ibrahim. So basically, Prophet Ibrahim noticed that got no use lah. Okay, I have been preaching in Babylon. Only two believers, okay? No one want to listen to me. So he left Babylon and went to Biladus Sham, or the city called Haran. And when we say Sham, okay, Sham is a big place, okay? Now it consists of Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, okay? All of that is called Sham. So a place or a city called Haran. So he go to Haran and preach there, okay? Preach there in Haran. So we read whatever inside the book, but okay, but from a more thorough opinion, it was not King Namrud. This story is not King Namrud. It was the king in Haran. So basically, in Haran, there was another king, bad king. Allahu A'lam, what is his name? Although this book said it is Namrud, but the more thorough opinion, it was not Namrud, it was another king, whereby we don't know who is his name, in the city of Haran in Biladus Sham. Okay? Never mind, we just read from the book. But the story is the same. It's about the beautiful woman. Okay? Who is this beautiful woman? Ibrahim's wife, Sarah, first wife. Okay? So, basically, Ibrahim left Babylon and went to Haran. After Haran, he went to Egypt. Okay? Yeah, correct. Okay, so basically, he left Babylon. After Babylon, he went to Haran. After Haran, he left Egypt. Okay, basically I make a mistake. It's not the king of Haran. It was the king of Egypt. Okay, so basically Sarah is an Egyptian. And Hajar is also an Egyptian. So basically, the more truer opinion, nothing to do with Haran. Okay, basically he make da'wah in Haran. Okay, but unsuccessful. Okay, people of Haran also refused to listen to the preaching of Prophet Ibrahim. So Prophet Ibrahim migrated migrated again towards Egypt. Okay, then settled at Egypt. He married Sarah. Okay, and Sarah was very beautiful. Okay, some narrations stated that she was the second most beautiful woman on earth. So who was the most beautiful woman on earth? Hawa, our mother. Hawa is the most beautiful woman on earth. And the second most beautiful woman on earth was Sarah. Because she was beautiful, the king won her. And this king was a womanizer. Okay? And this king wants every beautiful woman. And he will take the woman with force and will kill the husband. So he will kill Ibrahim and will do whatever adultery acts with Sarah. So this information, finally Ibrahim knew about this information, about this womanizer king. Okay, this mad king, okay, who likes women. So later in our book, it said that later Namrud, or the more truer opinion, the king of Egypt, learned that there was a beautiful woman in Ibrahim's company, and he ordered that he be brought to him. When he was asked about her, Ibrahim answered him, okay, "Oh, she is my sister Sarah." So basically, both of them, the husband and wife, Prophet Ibrahim and Sarah, was summoned to palace. So the king asked Ibrahim, "Who is this?" Ibrahim said, "My sister." Okay, and he asked Sarah, "Who is this?" "My brother." So both of them lied. Okay, why they lie? To save themselves. So this lie is okay lie. It means lie that is allowed to save yourself from death. Okay. But actually, if we learn in Aqidah, okay, during the Shafa'at, okay, why Ibrahim don't want to do the Shafa'at? Okay, why? Because of this lie. Although this lie is allowed, okay, he refused to do the Shafa'at in Mahsyar. So this is the reasoning. Okay, because he lied. Okay, let's continue the story. Okay, when he was asked about her, Ibrahim answered him, "Oh, she is my sister Sarah." Then he went to Sarah and said, "Oh, Sarah," actually there's also another dialogue in the hadith, basically, "Oh, Sarah, who is this guy lah?" So Sarah said, "This is my brother." Then the king said, "Oh, Sarah, there is no single believer in Allah on the..." this he is Ibrahim or the king? Ibrahim. Okay. "There is no single believer in Allah on the surface of the earth today besides you and me. This despot of a king asked me about you, and I replied that you are my sister. So maintain that and do not contradict me." Oh yeah, basically this incident haven't happened in palace yet. So basically the story of this mad king came to Sarah and Ibrahim. So basically Ibrahim knew that basically this king will call Sarah to palace. So basically Ibrahim advised Sarah when the king asked, "Are you married?" Said no. Okay, and how are you related to this guy who have been living with you? Just say that he is my brother. Okay. So Namrud, or another opinion, said the king of Egypt soon said for Sarah, and when she was in his presence, he attempted to touch her. Okay, to touch her to do the sinful act. But his hand instantly became stiff. Okay, like frozen, stiff. Okay, realizing that it was because he trespassed, he begged Sarah to pray to her God to forgive him and restore his hand. And he promised never to harm or molest her again. Okay, so Sarah granted his request. Okay, actually Sarah also scared. Okay, but just granted his request. But this king don't learn his lesson, so he tried to molest Sarah again. So second time, okay, he once again tried to touch Sarah again, and was immediately seized a second time. Okay, his hand became stiff some more. Okay, finally he asked for a prayer, promising never to attempt the trespass again. Sarah obliged him a second time, and he commanded his attendants to arrange some gift. Okay, so sekarang king dah realize, okay, dah mengamuk. "Oh gods, this is not human. Who are you being? Iblis any? In the palace. Is this a shaitan? Okay. It is not human that you have brought me, but a spirit. Okay, spirit means shaitan, is it? Or that have it another meaning? Enemy. Okay, enemy tak apa. Ada yang say, you have brought me a shaitan. Okay, whatever is it, this is not a human. Okay, who you brought this? This is not a woman. Okay, why this woman make me stiff? Okay, who is her? Okay, get me out of her. I don't want to see her anymore. Okay. So he ordered that Sarah to be gifted a female slave for Hajar. So basically, not only a slave, so he gave Sarah presents. Okay, because he felt defeated, he gave Sarah presents like jewelry, and also gave her a female slave. And this female slave is called Hajar. When Sarah returned to Ibrahim, she met him standing in prayer. So Ibrahim was actually at home praying and praying and praying that to Allah that this king will not molest or do adultery to Sarah. But he motioned with his hand, asking her what the news was. She replied that Allah had spared them for the plot of the evil one, and he even gifted her a maid. So Hajar was actually a maid lah. Okay. Let's continue. That is how Prophet Ibrahim distanced himself from the idolatry of his people and devoted his worship to the one and only Allah who truly deserves it. Allah created all things and appointed measures for them, and everything happens according to the measures He guides them to. It is Allah. He guides to the truth with His grace whomever He pleases, and leaves to be astray whomever He chooses to abandon. Allah is the creator and the sustainer. By all He has provided means in the sky and the earth. Allah sends down rain by which He brings earth back to life to produce for His creation assorted fruits. Allah made water from the sky pure and sweet to taste, to quench the thirst of His slaves. Such is Allah's might and dominion that when a person falls ill, no one can heal him except Allah, and only by what Allah has created to be healing for ailments. Allah grants life and takes it, and none can do that besides Him. Allah started all creation, and He alone can reverse creation and return everyone to life after death. Allah alone can forgive the sins of His slaves, and He alone does as He pleases without fearing the consequences of His actions. Ibrahim asked his Lord to endow him with knowledge and make him of the righteous people in this world and in the hereafter. So basically, this is the story about the dispute between Ibrahim and Namrud, and also the dispute between Ibrahim and the king of Egypt. Okay, so next chapter, still have time, is the chapter on the migration of Ibrahim. So actually, right, if you ask me, I will put the story of the story of the beautiful woman in the chapter of the migration of Ibrahim, because the more true opinion is it happens during the migration. It happens in Egypt in the more true opinion. The king is the king of Egypt. It's not the same person. It's not Namrud. That is the more true opinion. Although the author of our book said that it was Namrud lah. So basically there is a different in opinion, or different in historian opinion. So next chapter is the migration of Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam. Seeing the opposition, let's read from the book. Seeing the opposition to the truth from his father and his people, Ibrahim decided to migrate to Levant. Levant is the English word for Sham. Okay, Levant is another word for Sham. Okay, and it was said that the city was called Haran, as only his nephew, because he made da'wah in Babylon. No one listened except Sarah and his nephew Lut. Then he went to Haran. Okay, so basically he went to Haran, and his wife had accepted his message. He saw the need to abandon the community of disbelievers to a place where he could practice his faith and propagate it freely. Thus he set out with his wife, Sarah, and female slave, Hajar, with a pure heart, free of idolatry and full of faith. So in your book say, with Hajar, but the more true opinion, that story since happened in Egypt, so Hajar is not from Babylon lah. Because it was said that actually Sarah and Hajar were actually Egyptians. They were Egyptians. So basically, Prophet Ibrahim married an Egyptian. So Allah gave him the glad tidings and promise of a righteous child and prophethood that would continue in his progeny as honor. So, for a long time, Sarah remained childless. So, Sarah ni actually mandul lah. Okay? Dah kahwin lama, Sarah was actually childless. Okay? So, she gifted her slave. So, it was Sarah's idea, okay, to give her slave, which is Hajar, who is younger, to her husband, and through her, Ibrahim was blessed with Ismail. So, Ismail mother is Hajar. Okay? To her husband, and through her, Ibrahim was blessed with Ismail. When Hajar became pregnant with Ismail, Sarah was overwhelmed with so much jealousy. Okay, sekarang Sarah pun jealous pula. Dah kasih, then jealous. Okay? So, Sarah was overwhelmed with much jealousy that she threatened to cut off the 3 limbs from Hajar's body. Although this one tak tahu betul ke tak, it might come from the Israeliyat. Okay? Because I don't know where this come from. I know, yes, it's true that Sarah is jealous, but not so sure whether she really threatened to cut off 3 limbs from Hajar's body. It might be true, might be wrong. Okay? Because in other sources, it's not stated about this threatening. Hearing this, and to lessen the pain on her master, Hajar took to wearing a girdle. What's a girdle? Okay, never mind. This one is because this story actually not in other books or other sources. Okay, so it might be true or might be wrong. Hajar took to wearing a girdle to compress the middle of her body. She also kept away and lengthened her garment further to cover all her person, so that no sign of any chances due to pregnancy would be observable to Sarah if she ever saw her. Hajar eventually gave birth to Ismail. This intensified Sarah's jealousy and made Hajar too uncomfortable. So Allah then instructed Ibrahim to relocate Hajar and her son to Mecca. So basically, it was Allah's, we can say Allah's idea or Allah's command or Allah's order for Prophet Ibrahim to relocate with his second wife, that is Hajar, and her son, baby Ismail, towards Mecca al-Mukarramah. Okay? So before, okay, I think we got still time for one last topic or one last chapter. But before we read the last chapter for today, okay. So basically, from the chapter on the migration of Ibrahim, you know that Sarah was infertile, okay, for many years, okay. And as they continued their life of preaching, Sarah was actually grappled with deep sense of being lonely, okay, and also blaming herself with the inability of bearing a child. And she also loved Ibrahim too much, okay, and Ibrahim wanted a child, so it was Sarah's idea to give her maid Hajar to Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam. And as we read, we also knew that Hajar later gave birth to Ismail, okay, which later become a prophet. Then we also knew that Sarah was jealous of that, okay, was jealous of that. And it was also actually Hajar's, Sarah's request, it was actually Sarah's request, don't want Ibrahim or his husband and the second wife to live together because of the jealousy, So, just now, earlier I said that Prophet Ibrahim was the father of 2 races or 2 ethnicities, the Arabs and the Israelis. Okay, so Ismail, okay, Ismail, we can say Ismail is the father of the Arab nation lah. Okay, if Ismail is the father of Arab nation. And before that, okay, in the past weeks, okay, I said also there is a hadith whereby Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated that there are 4 Arab prophets, and they were who? Prophet Hud, first. Second, Saleh. Third, Shu'aib. Fourth is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So basically, these are the 4 Arab prophets basically. And The others are non-Arab prophets. Okay. Then pertaining to these 4 Arab prophets, okay, I have also said that 2 of them were native Arabs, means 100% pure Arabs. Okay. And I have also stated that Arabs come from Yemen. So Yemen was the source of Arabs, or senang cakap the birthplace of Arab. Okay, the time of Jurhum. Okay. So if you ask a question, is Prophet Ismail considered an Arab? We can say yes, we can say also no. Because he had an Egyptian mom. So his mother tongue is not Arabic. Okay. But Prophet Ismail membesar, okay, lived in Mecca for long until he became a teenager and became an adult. And we will learn later, we know that Mecca at that time was just a barren desert. No one lived. Okay, only Hajar and baby Ismail. But how Mecca became populated? So basically, as we know, the Arabs like to travel for business. So there were a caravan from Yemen, the Jurhum tribe, the original Arabs. Okay, they were on the way to Sham for business. So they saw birds flying around a place. And that place was actually Mecca, or last time used to call Bakkah. Okay, so they follow the direction of the birds flying, and they saw only 2 people, which is Hajar and baby Ismail. And they asked permission, can we live here? And Hajar allowed. So as Ismail membesar, Ismail married an Arab, okay, from the Jurhum tribe. So we can say that Ismail ni ada darah campur, Egyptian and Arab. Okay. Can? Then about Ishaq, which is the other son of Prophet Ibrahim. So Ishaq had a son named Yaqub. Okay, and Yaqub is the father of Prophet Yusuf. And Yusuf had, or Yaqub the father had many sons, especially the males. Okay, but Prophet Yaqub, we will learn later also, Prophet Yaqub loved 2 more, which is means 2 ni paling sayang. Siapa? Yusuf and the second or his younger one. So basically, Yaqub had 2 wives, although actually more than that. Okay, but from these 2 wives, where the progeny came. Okay, 1 wife. Okay, all these 9 brothers. Okay, his abang-abang. Okay, all don't like. Okay, ni semua nanti we will take. We will take in the story of Yusuf, but I just give an introduction. They don't like Yusuf. Okay, why? Because the father liked Yusuf, and the youngest, this is Benjamin, or you can say Benjamin, the English say Benjamin, okay, most. But whatever is it, okay, these 10 people are what we say the Bani Israel, the children of Israel. So Yaqub, we can say Yaqub is the father of the Israel. So it's true that Prophet Ibrahim is the father of 2 nations, which is the Arabs and the Israel. Can? Okay, before we continue the chapter of Prophet Ibrahim relocate Hajar and Ismail to Mecca, actually there was a narration, okay, there was a hadith. Okay, and this hadith is the story about later Hajar became pregnant. So basically the story is like this. One day, when Prophet Ibrahim alaihi salam and Sarah were very old and both were white-haired, they had 3 visitors, 3 unknown visitors. And as a tradition for the Arabs at that time, okay, Ibrahim, or not, I cannot say Arabs lah, as a tradition for them at that time, Ibrahim alaihi salam invited these 3 visitors for a meal. Okay, so Sarah kepo asked her husband, who are they? Ibrahim said, I do not know any of them. I don't know any of them. So Ibrahim also asked, what food we got? So Sarah replied, we had half a sheep. We have half a sheep. Okay. So Prophet Ibrahim ordered Sarah half a sheep, then slaughter a fat part of it. They asked strangers and our guests. So the servant prepared a fat roasted calf for the guests. Ibrahim invited the guests to help themselves with the meal. But before long, he observed that their hands did not reach the food. Okay, so Ibrahim noticed, why these 3 strangers, these 3 visitors don't eat the food. So Ibrahim became fearful and thought the visitors had arrived here to harm them. But the visitors will urge Ibrahim alaihi salam. Yes, I also said that this story is also in the Quran. In Surah Hud, verse 70, Allah narrated, do not be afraid. We are angels. Okay? These three visitors, who you say strangers, we are actually angels. So the angels then gave the couple glad tidings, good news, of the birth of their second son, Ishaq alaihi salam, and their future grandson, Yaqub alaihi salam. Sarah was astonished. Okay, Sarah was astonished. Oh my. Okay, in Surah Hud, verse 72, Allah narrated, whereby Sarah's reply, oh my, how can I have a child in this old age? And my husband here, Ibrahim here, is an old man. Sarah asked the angels. So the angels responded in verse 73, are you astonished by Allah's decree? Okay, why are you surprised by Allah's decree? Okay, Allah can do anything. Okay, why are you astonished by Allah's decree? May Allah's mercy and blessings be upon you, O the people of this house. Indeed, Allah is praiseworthy, all gracious. Yeah. So basically, this story is also in the Quran. So the story of Prophet Ibrahim extends through the lives of his son, Prophet Ismail and Ishaq. Okay. And later, when we delve into the story of Prophet Ismail and Ishaq, we will uncover, insyaAllah also, the roots of many practices central to our Islamic faith today, especially in Hajj. Okay, the tawaf, everything is related to the tradition of Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail. Okay, it's deeply rooted with the tradition of Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Ismail alaihi salam. Okay, I think no more time, almost finished. I think never mind, we just end here, insyaAllah. Okay, it's 3 minutes to 10:30 already. So insyaAllah, okay, the following week, okay, next Sunday, we will continue still with the story of Prophet Ibrahim. Okay, about Prophet Ibrahim shifting, okay, leaving Egypt and relocate towards Mecca, or it used to be called Mecca, and we know Mecca was a barren land. No one actually stayed there at that time. Okay, and it was with the, not we can say request, or we cannot say request, because it was actually the first wife, Sarah, who actually, because of jealousy, she doesn't want to see Ibrahim and Ismail. So Ibrahim actually then relocate with Hajar and Ismail towards Mecca. Okay, that is what we will, insyaAllah, take next week. Okay, so we end here. Any questions? Yeah? Okay, since no question, we can end here. We end with Tasbih Kafarah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu wasallam ala nabiyina Muhammad. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.